This is hands down the greatest time to start a business. You heard that correctly. The greatest time to start a business. Right in the middle of quarantine. Welcome to another episode of Windshield Wisdom. Yours Bruley here, aka Coach Brew, sharing my random, not so random musings here on what I believe is like, I don't know, man, I've lost count. It might be day 78 of the quarantine. It's just dropping something off with a client, and thought I'd take a drive, record this video for you. Not going to mention him by name, but this client is a new entrepreneur. Not new to the workforce, just new to entrepreneurship and small business. And obviously starting a company, any kind of business today is kind of scary, kind of daunting. But what people aren't talking about, me being the contrarian that I am, I'm probably the only person talking about this in MySpace, not the website MySpace, like literally MySpace. Coaching, thought leadership, that space. I'm probably the only person talking about this. The fact that starting a business today, this is the greatest time to do it. This is the greatest opportunity. Now follow me on this. And, my unique perspective on that stems from one simple thing. In 2008, just before the Great Recession, let's backtrack a little further. Fired from my coaching job on my birthday, June 14th, 2004, for not winning a national championship. That was the day I became an entrepreneur, so to speak. I went into broadcasting and sales. If you work in sales in any capacity, you're self-employed to a large extent. So anyway, I was working for ESPN Radio. Then we moved to Maine 3 years later. I worked for Fox Sports Radio, sales manager and on-air host of an evening drive talk show. The radio group that I was working for, Clear Channel, which is like the largest radio and multimedia company in America, at least America, definitely North America, maybe even the world, I don't know. They're huge. They're a behemoth. They decided they're going to sell off all their small market radio groups. Small market meaning anything outside the top 100. So as you can imagine, Augusta, Maine is not a major market radio market. It's like number 248, if that, in America. So anyway, what happens in media is when there's a sale, they fire everybody and they bring in their own people. And if they didn't bring in their own guy or their own girl for a certain position, they let you re-interview for the job you already had and typically simply offer you that job at like 15-20% less pay. Second radio station sale I had been through. Wasn't about to go through it again. It's miserable. There's no job security, very little financial stability working in media, traditional media, I should say, because you don't control your own destiny. You work for someone else. I had just reached a threshold where I had enough of that. I wanted to control my own destiny. That's when I really became an entrepreneur. Filed to become an LLC, became a full-time speaker and coach. And right after I did that, the Great Recession of 2008 hit. Yep, you remember that. It hit the banking industry, which then hit damn near every other industry. It's that trickle-down effect. And the reason I say this is the greatest time for entrepreneurs, for new business owners, for anyone to be starting a business is because of the lesson I learned starting my business right before the Great Recession. I didn't know otherwise. The market was the market then. The economy was the economy then. People's budgets were people's budgets. They weren't great, that's for sure. People were timid, tentative, scared, not investing in themselves or their businesses. But I didn't know otherwise, and I found a way to make it work. It forced me to get creative. It forced me to market like hell, put myself out there in a lot of different ways. And I made it work. Things got easier after that because the market improved, the economy improved. So my point is, if you're starting a business now, or you're relatively new to entrepreneurship now, it's a great time because everything after this is going to be easy. And if you can make it work during the hardest of times, hell, you'll find a way to make it fly to new heights when the economy's booming. And that's my point with all this. It's very revealing. I think the tough is what makes it worthwhile. To quote Tom Hanks from the movie A League of Her Own, it's supposed to be tough. The tough is what makes it good, I think were his exact words. He's talking to one of his players about how hard the game is. It's a great comparison to entrepreneurship and small business today. Any business today, really. It got a lot harder for people who are used to it being really easy. But if you're not used to it being easy, and this quote, I hate the term, but this quote, new normal is the only normal you know, you are actually at one hell of a competitive advantage. One hell of a competitive advantage. Because when it is easy, that's just like strapping a turbo booster onto your business. That's jet fuel, man. So I think hardship reveals everything you need to know about yourself, about your business, about your prospects, about your market. Hardship's revealing how people handle themselves, how people conduct themselves. But most importantly, challenge of any kind makes you resourceful. Now, I'll take it back to my coaching days. I never had the luxury of having a coaching job at like an established power, you know, at a program that had a cushy budget or was a household name or was anyone's first choice. I started 2 new programs, brand new from scratch. And I had 3 rebuilding jobs where there weren't a lot of resources. The only thing that was in abundance was a lot of apathy. And what that does is it forces you to get creative, become a creative problem solver. And when there's a shortage of resources, it makes you a better recruiter. And recruiting is sales. So when there's a shortage of resources, you've got to find alternative solutions. You got to find workarounds, hacks. I hate the term hack, but it is what it is. You got to find hacks to get a good outcome. When in reality, no one's expecting a good outcome except for you. So when you don't have resources, it makes you more creative. And I actually think it makes you more effective. Because your intellectual resources actually trump financial resources. Yes, I know I just said the word Trump. I probably triggered somebody. I apologize. Different kind of Trump, though. But in all seriousness, intellectual resources always trump financial resources. Because you're never going to be at a shortage for intellectual resources if you're flexing your creative muscles and you're thinking outside the box. Financial resources come and go. I'm not one of those law of attraction people, those wackadoos who think all I have to do is picture it in my head, dream it up, and wish for it, and it'll happen. No, it won't. Sweat equity, there's work. There are other factors outside of your control when it comes to financial resources. But those intellectual resources are 100% under your control. That's completely internal within you. And that's why it's always your competitive advantage. I would actually rather have, in every industry, in every market, in every profession, I'd rather have intellectual resources than financial resources. Intellectual resources in the form of myself, my leadership, intellectual resources in the form of my people on my team, intellectual resources in the form of a personal board of advisors. I'd rather have those intellectual resources than a board of investors throwing money at a problem. I can't tell you, in the work I do, I can't tell you how many times I've seen good money thrown after bad money at a problem, thinking that's the solution. That isn't even the beginning of a solution. It's no solution at all. It's just it's like putting a Band-Aid on an amputated limb. You're covering it up. It's gonna keep bleeding out. And it's gonna get gangrene. There's gonna be a level of toxicity. And eventually people, your investors, whoever it might be, yourself, gonna get sick of throwing money at a problem. And they're either gonna, fold up the tent, pack it in, or find a way to squeeze you out. Now, if you can throw brain power at a problem, you got a great chance of solving it, and not just surviving but thriving. That's my message for you. That's why this is absolutely the greatest time to be in business. Try and remember that. When things are getting tough, or you're listening to people around you who have been established and have been comfortable, comfortableness breeds complacency. So there are a lot of people who are comfortable and are now got complacent and are now struggling. You need to avoid those people, because you don't want that to infiltrate your mind. Because right now, in many ways, you're a blank slate in a good way, because you don't know otherwise. It's tough, and that's all you know. So as far as you know, it always was tough. It is tough. It's always going to be tough, and you just need to be tougher. So I want to encourage you to embrace that mentality. Continue to believe it. And then when easy shows up, that's just gravy. That's just icing on the cake. But you baked yourself a hell of a cake in the meanwhile. Stay strong. Keep your chin up, your chest out, move forward. This is Coach Brew signing off from another episode of Windshield Wisdom. You want more of this kind of content? I'm serving it up over at CoachBrew.com. And when you go there, opt into my email list at the top of the page. It's CoachBru.com, where you can sign up for my daily brew. That'll get you my articles, my blog, podcast, videos. I'm your coach in your inbox. And also when you do that, you'll automatically get a complimentary download of my premium, an issue of my premium newsletter for my inner circle. Those folks pay $99 a month for that privilege. You're getting that first issue for free. Give it a test drive, see if you want to join. That's all there for you at CoachBrew.com. We'll see you in the next episode, Windshield Wisdom. Stay strong.